Welcome along, explorer. It's time for more out-of-this-world discovering adventures in the Fun Kids Science Midweekly. My name's Dan, and it's all about the questions this week. If you ever have anything sciencey that you want answered, make sure you leave it as a voice note for me on the free Fun Kids app and at funkidslive.com. That way you will star in the show, and I can get a genius on to try and answer your question. I'll do it myself. We will get it sorted, all right? So, voice notes to the free Fun Kids app and at funkidslive.com. This week, we're talking moons, croaks, and cars. First question, voice note, brilliant. It's from Raphael. What do you have?
When you sneeze, why do your eyes close?
Why, when you sneeze, do your eyes close? Well, it's because the two things are linked by the same nerve. When you sneeze, your body triggers a reflex that involves your chest, your throat, your facial muscles. Onto those facial muscles then. One nerve, the oculomotor nerve, which controls the eyelids, is stimulated. It's fired up. So, when your sneeze reflex fires, so does the signal that tells you to close your eyes or to blink. So that's what's happening. But why is it happening? Well, we've done this show long enough, haven't we, to understand that pretty much everything that your body does has evolved to do that. Through hundreds of thousands of years of almost biological trial and error, why you do what you do is because there's a brilliant reason for it. So, with closing your eyes when you're sneezing, it's not to stop your eyes from bulging out and popping out. I know that's a myth that you might have heard. It's thought that it's to stop whatever you're sneezing out from getting back in. You see, you sneeze because something has irritated your nose. Maybe a bit of dust or something that you're allergic to, whatever it is, some bacteria perhaps. Your body thinks it's an intruder, so it wants to get rid of it. So with a force like a race car, it fires it out there. You sneeze, you hurl it into the air. Well, it's pointless sneezing that intruder out if it can just jump back in through your eyes. So some experts say that perhaps it's a reflex that closes your eyes so whatever you've shot out can't get back in. Raphael, thank you very much. All about slimy sneezes. Thank you for your question. Let's get on another one. This is from Robbie, who wants to know, why do frogs croak? Well, only male frogs typically croak, Robbie. They croak for a few different reasons. Maybe it's mating season and they want to attract a partner. The males will croak to attract a female. And what's interesting is each species has a very unique croak, so partners can identify their own kind. And that's really important when they're finding a mate. And so it might be for you when you hear a frog croaking, they kind of all sound the same, like a warbling ribbit, but actually they can tell the difference. They might croak as a warning for other frogs to stay away from their territory, their own land. Maybe they might croak when they're startled or threatened. They want to warn others. They croak in the same way that we talk, really. They force air through their larynx. That's their voice box. A group of tissues in there wobble and vibrate like a guitar string, and that warbles around and that makes a sound. Then, though, the air goes into a vocal sac, which is a big open space, and the sound bounces around there and gets louder and louder. It echoes and echoes, and when it's loud enough, it's amplified out into the world. And they do this over and over again, rapidly, very quickly, to make the croaking noise. And that's how, and that's why it happens, Robbie. Few reasons for that. Thank you very much for the question. Here's another one from Arla. Like this one, Arla. Why is the moon called the moon? Well, the moon was the timekeeper of early calendars. You have a calendar now, maybe on a phone or like a proper old school paper calendar. My mum has loads of them. In every room, she has about 10 different calendars with like old pop stars that she loves that all have big ears and bushy nose hair. It's either that or loads of pictures of my cat as a calendar. But back in the day, when you couldn't get those types of calendars, people would track when a month had gone by looking at the moon, because they realised that a moon more or less spins on its own axis once a month, so you can chart how long time has been. And the word moon goes back to a word from medieval times called mona, which goes back even further to a Latin word which means measure, and then another Latin word which means mensis, which means month. So that is why moon shares its name, a very similar name, to the word month, because that's how they would track the time back in the day, by using the moon. Let's get on another voice note. This one is from Jonah. What do you have, Jonah?
Why do humans have sweat? I love your podcast.
Why do we sweat? Well, the main reason is to cool us down. You might have heard about evaporation before. When things are heated up, they become a gas. When your body temperature rises, you make sweat. It's mostly water with a little bit of salt in there. Now, you sweat to draw heat away from your vital organs. You don't want to get them too hot. So you sweat and make water on your skin to draw that heat towards it, because that water kind of attracts the heat energy, because it helps it evaporate, so it becomes a gas, which then rises through the sky and it cools down your body, which is why sometimes you might be steaming if you've done a bit of exercise and you're really, really hot. It's because you're constantly sucking that heat away from everything vital inside you. So it evaporates the water, makes a gas, and it helps you cool down. It's why a lot of creatures who can't sweat like jump into water, like your dog, or hippos, brilliant example, and elephants, brilliant example. They can't properly sweat, so they chuck water on themselves whenever they get the chance, which cools them down because it brings heat away, because it evaporates the water, and that's why we sweat. Jonah, thank you for the question. Let's get on one more, shall we, from Rhian, who wants to know, how does fuel move cars? Well, cars use an internal combustion engine. It's based on the idea that air expands when you heat it. Warm air gets bigger, it grows, and it rises. So what happens is fuel is sucked into the engine, and then it mixes with the air, and then it's ignited. When it's ignited, that air becomes very hot very quickly, and it grows, it expands, and it's squashed into this tiny space. In that space as well, there are pistons. Those pistons, little tubes that move up and down, they move up and down, they move up and down. When they're moving up and down, they're turning the wheels as well. So that air, it gets hot, it expands, it pushes the pistons up and down, which makes the wheels move. And different fuels like petrol or diesel, they mix with the air and they ignite in different ways, and you can get more expensive fuels that are meant to make it work more efficiently, to make the air expand better. And that is how fuel moves cars, because it ignites and it expands air really quickly, which powers the gears, which turns the wheels. Rhian, thank you very much for your question. If you ever have a question that you want answered, make sure you leave it as a voice note for me on the free Fun Kids app. You can do it at funkidslive.com too. Now, before we go this week, let's get another quick lesson, shall we? And head to the smartest school in the solar system with a class at Deep Space High.
Deep Space High, Earthwatch, with support from the Royal Astronomical Society.
Jump into a wormhole and travel to Deep Space High, the school in space. But hurry, because lessons are about to begin.
I'm fed up with this storm, Professor. Is there a planet somewhere, like, where it never rains?
Well, you could try Mercury. It never rains there, but that's because it's baked to a crisp. So would you be. Don't knock storms, Sam. They're all part of what makes Earth a planet that can support life.
Whoa! Did you see that lightning?
Phenomenal. I was hoping we'd get a bit of lightning. Come on, Sam. Let's go inside the rain cloud.
It's cold up here.
Well, things may be about to get a lot warmer. Have you heard of the water cycle, Sam?
Yeah. Rain falls, water in the puddles evaporate back into the clouds, where it cools down and turns back into rain. The water goes up and down, over and over again, basically. That's right, isn't it?
Yep, that's the fella. Well, all around us, molecules of water are passing each other. This is creating an electrical charge with positive particles rising higher and negative particles dropping to the bottom. As you know, opposites attract, and way down there on the Earth, positive particles are reaching out to the negative ones, and when they connect...
Wow, it's like a massive fiery path appeared as they joined up.
The temperature of lightning can get hotter than the surface of the sun. And that's why when lightning hits things, it can cause so much damage.
Can we go back indoors now? I don't fancy getting hit by the next lightning strike.
So how can lightning be a possible sign of life on other planets? It seems more like something that burns and destroys things.
Because normally you don't get lightning without one very special ingredient. Can you remember what that might be?
Well, it's just water.
Just water? Most precious substance in the universe? Well, it is if you want to stay alive. When we see lightning around other planets, it can give us a clue that there may be water in the atmosphere. And the size of a storm can give us information about the atmospheres too.
Isn't Jupiter meant to have a lot of storms on it?
Jupiter has some of the most amazing storms of all. The biggest ones are around the dark side of the planet. Because its air pressure is higher and gravity stronger, rain clouds are 3 times as tall as the ones we get on Earth. This means they get giant lightning.
Giant lightning? Wow, that sounds cool. Or should I say, hot.
Very hot. But there's something to see, I can tell you.
Here's a sports joke for you. What does a cloud wear under his clothes? Thunderpants.
And children should be seen and not heard, especially if they're going to tell jokes like that.
Deep Space High, Earthwatch, with support from the Royal Astronomical Society. Find out more at funkidslive.com/deepspacehigh.
And that is it for this week's Fun Kids Science Midweekly. Thank you so much for listening, for being there. We will be back in a few days exploring more of the brilliant world around us. If you have a question, make sure you leave it as a voice note on the free Fun Kids app and on our website too. Fun Kids, we are a children's radio station from the UK. You can listen all around the country on our app, on our website, funkidslive.com. And if you've got a smart speaker, wake it up and ask it to play Fun Kids. And with that, I'll see you soon. Thanks for being there. Bye.